going on, guys? My name is Lars, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys a concept deck profile with the new Dragma archetype spliced with the Crusadia archetype. Now I know that might sound a little odd, but I want you to hear me out and watch the rest of the video, and I'll be able to show you here at the end what I'm talking about as a proof of concept. So hope you guys stick around for the rest of the video just to kind of see what I'm talking about. And if you do enjoy the video, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys. And I also now do have a Twitch channel at twitch.tv/8bithits. You guys can come and follow me there, and you can watch me play video games. We can chit chat, we can talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, we can talk about games, we can talk about whatever. Right now I'm currently playing the new Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I really do hope to see you guys there. I also now do have an Instagram and a Twitter account. If you guys want to follow me on there, I post there usually every other day. I'll try to post something every day, something interesting, something funny, you know what I mean. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Alright guys, so here's what the deck looks like on paper. I'm going to be going through each card one by one, explaining their importance in the deck and what they do, and then that way you guys can get a whole roundabout of what this deck is supposed to do. I'm also going to have a couple videos of EDO Pro at the end of this video here, so that way you can guys see the deck in action and you can kind of see what it's supposed to do. But yeah, let's get into it, starting off with one copy of the Red MD. Red MD, it's really self-explanatory for everyone, I think, at this point. He's been out forever. But yeah, you can summon him out with LP and then using him to summon Draco from the graveyard, and then using it all to go into Saryuja Skuldred and then fixing your hand and everything like that. He can just allow for GUARDRAGON shenanigans. The thing about the errata that is currently, I think, I'm not even sure if it's still applied right now or in the OCG at this point, but regardless of the errata, it's not going to hurt the deck that much because you don't need to go into multiple Saryuja Skuldreds in order to be able to abuse this deck to its fullest potential. So regardless of the errata, it's still very solid no matter what. But yeah, anyway, moving on. One of the newer cards, Maximus Dragma. He is a really solid card. I debate between as a 1 or 2 of, but to his actual effect, you can banish 1 Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster from your graveyard and special summon this card from your hand. So it's a very easy special summoning condition. During your main phase, you can send 2 monsters with different names from your extra deck to the graveyard. Also, your opponent sends 2 monsters from their extra deck to the graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. You can only use each effect hard once per turn. What you want to remember with the Dragma cards in this deck, and probably every deck essentially, is that you want to utilize their effects at the end of the turn. You're not going to be using them in the beginning, so that's the only thing you really need to remember when it comes to Maximus and to the Ecclesia monster and the spell card. These are all going to lock you into that no extra deck restriction. So you definitely want to be using their effects at the end of the turn. That's the only thing you really need to keep in mind. But other than that, his effect is actually really good, being able to essentially take out pieces of your opponent's extra deck and pretty much trying to killing their resources. Once you eliminate the extra deck or eliminate critical parts of it, there's really nothing they can do. So, but yeah, really solid card. Debate between a 1 or 2 of. Try and with different variants, but as of right now, he's searchable in the deck. It's really easy to get him, so that's why he is a 1 of here in the deck. Next up, 2 copies of Gamma Seal. Gamma Seal is really solid in combination with Kyoto Waterfront. This is a non-once per turn Omni Negate that banishes, and that's incredible. So just a really solid card all the way around. Obviously, you can use it for the removal. I just do not do that while Kyoto Waterfront is on the field because he can use those counters from your field spell, so don't do that. But in terms of getting him out, it's really easy with Saryuja Skuldred. Once you have him in hand, you can use Saryuja's effect to be able to special summon to your side of the field and utilize the counters on Kyoto Waterfront to use his Omni Negate effect. Really solid card all the way around. It's amazing. I cannot believe how busted this card is. It's just really, really good. Next, 3 copies of the new Fleur de Lis, the Dragma Knight. She is a really solid card, definite 3 staple, and here's why. During the main phase, if a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck is on the field, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then if you control another Dragma monster, you can negate the effects of 1 face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn. When your Dragma monster declares an attack, you can make all Dragma monsters you control gain 500 attack. You can only use each effect of Fleur de Lis, the Dragma Knight, once per turn. What's really nice about this is that when your opponent special summons a monster, you can get a free 2500 body on board with a negation on that monster until the end of the turn. That is incredibly solid. The nice thing about the buffing effect is that it is not until the end phase, so that stays. That's a permanent attack boost. She's just a solid card all the way around, and there's no reason to ever run any less than 3 because she is essentially a free body on board. 3 copies of Ecclesia, the Dragma Saint. Now they all have their own built-in special summoning condition, and that is if a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. So all the level 4 monsters here have it, with one exception, which is going to be Albus, but we'll talk about him in a minute. But yeah, anyway, they all have their own unique effects, and they're all hard once per turns. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Dragma card from your deck to your hand, except herself. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. Again, it's just for that. You want to be using her effect at the end of the turn. So, but other than that, it's a surge card. It's really solid. This is how you're going to get your Fleur de Lis, or you can get the field spell as well, or but yeah, all the way around, just a really solid card to be able to grab your resources from the deck. Really solid. Next, we have 2 copies of Theo, the Dragma Iron Hammer. Again, they all have that inherent special summoning condition. His unique effect is you can target 1 face-up monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck. Until the end of this turn, this card gains 600 attack, and if it does, that target loses 600 attack. This comes up fairly often, especially going second. This is really nice, just being able to essentially run over your opponent's monsters with ease. But other than that, he is a 2 of, just because he is a beefy body, but you don't really need more than 2, at least in my experience so far with the deck. So he's a really solid card. He's level 4. That's really critical. A lot of these are level 4, which is good in terms of going into FA Dawn Dragster with Crusadia Arborea. So it's really nice. Next, we have Adin, the Dragma Oracle, 2 copies. Her unique effect is if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 Dragma monster from your deck, except Adin, the Dragma Oracle. This is just nice to be able to essentially put it on the board. If your opponent destroys it, you can grab one of your resources out of the deck, like Maximus, or you can grab Ecclesia. Just really solid card, or you can grab Fleur de Lis if you so desire. Either way, it's an easy special summon that gives you get your resources. So just a really solid card. Again, just a nice 2 of. And then the last of the new Dragma monsters is Albus Nullius Filius. This card is, take note that it is a dragon. That is actually very important. But if this card is normal or special summon, you can discard 1 card, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using this card in the field, and monsters your opponent controls as fusion material. You can only use this effect once per turn. This is incredible. Just pretty much being able to make monsters using your opponent's monster. Essentially a super poly in monster form, which is really cool. The nice thing is too is that you can special summon this out with like Red MD, or you can use LP to get it onto the field and break your opponent's board that way. It's incredible what you can do with this card. As of right now, I'm not sure of the ratio I want to use. It's easily you're easily able to get it out of the deck, so I have it as a 1 of, but I can easily see this card being a 2, maybe even a 3 of. It's worth experimenting with. In terms of this build though, and online play, I've only needed the 1, so either way, it's a really solid card. Definitely can't go without it. And then we're getting into the Crusadia engine. I'm not going to dwell too much into this, pretty much just glance over them a little bit. But Crusadia Maximus, they all have a special summoning condition that you can special summon to a zone to link monster points to. What's really nice, and this is the reason that we're running this, is that we're able to abuse their special summoning condition simply by using the Crusadia engine. And what's nice about this is that you just need 1 Crusadia to go into Crusadia Magius. All of a sudden, these are all live, and then you're able to special summon them from your hand. So that's why I'm using this, and this is where the inspiration came from, was to be able to utilize their special summoning conditions to see how we can abuse it the most. In terms of Maximus's actual effect, you can target a Crusadia Link monster, and it does double damage. So it's really powerful. So like if you want to do the standard Link climb and a standard Crusadia OTK, you're able to do that and go into Equimax. So if you see the opening and the opening is there, you can still just utilize this and do it that way. So that's why the engine is still really nice. You're still able to achieve the OTK with the deck regardless. So you have multiple win conditions essentially in here. But yeah, other than that, that's it. So we have Crusadia Draco, the most important Crusadia here in the deck. Draco is really powerful. This is the cog in the Guard Dragons. Essentially, you're going to be special summoning him under Spatha, using Draco to go into LP. LP to special summon out Red MD. Red MD to special summon your Draco from the graveyard, going into Saryuza Skuldred, and kind of going off from there. So, but yeah, definitely the most important cog here, the most important piece to be able to do your crazy plays. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it there. 3 copies of Crusadia Arboreus. She's a level 3 tuner, which is really nice, and she's a Crusadia by name, so you're able to go into Magius and Spatha and the like. She also provides that little bit of protection effect there for you as well. Doesn't come up too often, but it comes up enough to say that she is just a really solid card all the way around. Just 3 tuners in the deck is really nice. I haven't been able to do any needle fiber shenanigans within here. There's nothing that's really crazy that needle fiber I would think would do with this deck in particular, but if you can figure out a combo that I haven't seen yet, leave it in the comments down below. I'd love to see it. But yeah, moving on, 2 copies of Reclusia. Again, it's more for Crusadia by name, but his effect is actually very useful, being able to target a Crusadia you control, and including himself and a card that your opponent controls, and then destroying the both of them. So just a nice piece of removal. You can also protect him with Arborea's effect, so that way you can just pop your opponent's card for free, essentially. Really nice. And then Crusadia Leonis. This is just essentially there for to help with the OTK and the piercing, but it's really just for the Crusadia name, especially just to being able to link up and to get your Dragmas live. So, but that's why he's there. That's why he's a one-of. He's kind of bricky for what he is, but you still just want more Crusadias by name, so that way you have multiples. Anyway, moving on to the spells. 3 copies of Kyoto Waterfront. This is your counter generator. It is amazing. I love this card so much. It just, anytime a card is sent to the graveyard, boom, you get a counter. It's going to be destroyed, remove a counter. It's just so easy. This is how you're going to get your negates on board, and with your Gamma Seal, it's just really powerful. And then if you have 3 counters on this card, you're able to activate this card and grab a Gamma Seal from the deck. So it's really, really easy searching. Really powerful card. Definite 3 of. Next, 3 copies of Call by the Graves. You need your plays to go through. That's why these are in the deck. If your opponent tries to hit you with an Ash Blossom, this is obviously going to be there to protect you. You need your plays to go through. That's why we're playing 3 Call by the Graves, for sure. Next, copies of here, the Disciple of the Nadir. This is part of the new cards as well. Send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, then add 1 Dragma monster or 1 Albus Nilius Filius from your deck or graveyard to your hand with attack less than or equal to the sent monsters. And for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck. And it's a hard once per turn. So yeah, again, this is one of those cards you're going to activate at the end of your of building your board. But it's really nice because it's an easy search, and then you can send either the Bastard Dragon to get a search at the end of the turn, or you can send Elder Entity Natis to be able to pop one of your opponent's cards. So it's just, it has a really nice piece of utility, but it is a hard once per turn. That's why we only run 2. It's a really solid card. I don't think you would need more than this unless you're running a more pure build, but as it stands right now, I've had no issues with 2. I like it at 2, but it's always worth experimenting with. Next, we have 1 copies here of Dogmatic Nation Dragma. I love that name, and I love that artwork a lot. But yeah, so this is their archetypal field spell. It's got really nice utility. Neither player can target Dragma monsters you control with the effects of monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck. So there's a nice piece of targeting protection there for your Dragma monsters. You can only use the following effects of Dogmatic Nation Dragma once per turn. After damage calculation, if your Dragma monster battled an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. That's any monster. That's not the extra deck. That's any monster. So that's really, really nice. Pretty much if you can build a wall, which is easy to do in this deck, if you can build a wall with your Dragma monsters, your opponent's not really going to have an out to it. They're going to have to figure out a different way of getting to your life point. So that's why we're running the 1 copy of it in here. And also it's easily searchable through terraforming. Its secondary effect, if this face-up card in the field zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. Each player sends 1 monster from their extra deck to the graveyard. So just that extra piece of utility of being able to send either Natis or the Bastard Dragon to essentially tell pretty much giving you a search and getting rid of your opponent's resources if they destroy it. It's just a really nice field spell. The only reason I do run it at 1 though is because it has the potential to be cloggy. So that's why it is a 1 of. It is searchable. So You can debate whether or not it's a 1 or 2 of, maybe 3. I doubt that. I think it's perfect at 1 for now, maybe 2 at most, but it's a really solid card all the way around. Next, 1 copy of World Legacy Succession. This is obvious for just a monster reborn. This is this can also help you extend with your GUARDRAGON plays. Just a really solid card. I mean, there's really not too much else to be said about it. Getting your resources from the graveyard. 1 copy of Terraforming. Obviously, we're running 2 different types of field spells in here, so this is just able to get your field spells. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, pretty self-explanatory. Revive from the grave, and then 1 copy of World Legacy GUARDRAGON. Obviously, to continue your GUARDRAGON plays, to go into like a second Saryuja, you can build your board even bigger. So just really powerful stuff. To the extra deck, 2 copies of Bastard the Ashen Dragon. Now this is a pretty incredible card. It requires Albus the Nilius Filius and 1 monster with 2,500 or more attack. Its effect is gains attack equal to the combined original levels of the materials used for its fusion summon times 100. After this card is fusion summoned for the rest of this turn, it is unaffected by the activated effects of other monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck. So it has that nice bit of protection for itself. It gets pretty beefy. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can take 1 Dragma monster or 1 Albus from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. You can only use this effect of Bastard the Ashen Dragon once per turn. So it's a nice little bit of utility to be able to either grab your resources or special summon them from the deck. It's really, really good. Just a really solid card. It's just easy to dump from the extra deck, so that way you can get a search or special summon it. It's just a really good card. Definitely a 2 of for sure. Could be a 3 of, especially in the pure builds. But in terms of this build so far, I've never needed more than 2. I've never went into a grind game where I needed, or I was like, man, I could really use a 3rd one. So it's a really solid card. Next, 2 copies of Elder Entity Natis. This is nice because every time it goes to the graveyard, you pop one of your opponent's cards. So yeah, definitely 2 of, could be a 3 of, but the extra deck space I feel is fairly tight, but it's worth experimenting with. Next, 1 copy of Starving Venom. This is just really easy. You can use Albus and one of your opponent's monsters to go into Starving Venom. Just a really, actually, you'll see this one of the videos at the end of this video. You're going to see I did this. It was actually just really nice. Really solid card. Yeah, not too much else to be said about it. 1 copy of Equimax. This is for your Crusadia OTK potential. That's why he's here. 1 copy of Magius. This is the easiest monster to go into, so that way it makes all your Dragma monsters live. Also provides you a search for another Crusadia monster from the deck to the hand. Spatha is one of your key playmakers in getting to your GUARDRAGON combos. This is what you're going to be special summoning Draco under, and then using Draco to go into LP and using Spatha's effect to be able to move 1 spot to the right. But yeah, Spatha, really, really important. 1 copy of GUARDRAGON LP to special summon a dragon from the deck. 1 copy of GUARDRAGON Pisty to be able to special summon a dragon from the graveyard. 1 copy of Almirage. This is just in case for any reason you did not open a Crusadia in hand. You can use like Adin the Dragma Oracle to be able to send it to the graveyard for Almirage. So this is just a very, very rare scenario. Regardless, but yeah, that is the only reason it's there, to make them all live. But I have had to use it, but yeah, it's really not a big deal, but that's why it's there. 2 copies of Saryuja Skuldred. This is obviously to fix your hand, also to give you that nice special summon from your hand for the Gamma Seal or for the Maximus if necessary, or the Red MD, whatever you need. It's just Saryuja is a really, really powerful card. Definite 2 of here in the deck because you can easily spam more than 1. 1 copy of F.A. Dawn Dragster. These are just for multiple negations. And then 1 copy of Abyss Dweller here for any graveyard reliant deck. So you're going to be sending a lot of stuff to the graveyard anyway. Your opponent is going to be sending stuff to the graveyard pretty much. We're just going to be making sure your opponent can't do anything, especially with this deck. Moving into the side deck, 3 copies of Evenly Matched. This is the Great Equalizer. Going second, this is probably one of the best cards in the game. So pretty much just leveling out your opponent's playing field, making your job really, really easy to kill your opponent. 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier. This card is more prevalent now than ever. Pretty much any deck that's relying strictly on fusions or Exceeds or pendulums, anything like that. This is just one of the best cards to pretty much tell your opponent, no, you're not allowed to play the game. 3 copies of Twin Twister, obviously to move your opponent's back row. 3 copies of Denko Sekka for anybody who's playing very trap-centric decks. Especially, this is just so that way, yeah, your opponent's not going to be activating anything anytime soon. 1 copy of Set Rotation here. This is obviously we're running the Mystic Mine in here as well. Just a really nice piece of utility here. Mystic Mine is Mystic Mine, and 1 copy of Red Reboot, just to help you engage with those trap decks. So, but yeah, guys, let's get into the videos here, just to be showing you what this deck is capable of. There's not many, but I just wanted to show you guys what it can do. All right, guys, later.